Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all gold BJJ? All of these cards are gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with you. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
Well, they're
sizes.
really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait.
No, do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
You know, they were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. Anyway, go visit our friends at goldbjj.com.
10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in Salt Electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertijar.com and roll with confidence panda style.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope that you're having a good day so far. Now, I realize some of these settings are a little, they're a little intense. Like my head is a little bit bigger. Maybe I should just be pushing back here. So we had to rearrange the whole setup because we've been gone for a few days. It takes a second to get everything back in order. So we hope that everything is to your liking today. If it is not, it is mostly because we're very tired. Our staff went and produced 26 hours of broadcast television this weekend. So my voice has come back. It was a little shaky there for a minute. And we've definitely let our gentlemen go and get some rest, some well-deserved rest, because I didn't see another show that went as long as we did, as intensely as we did, or as thorough as we did, on a budget and with zero credentials. I did see some people doing interviews there. That was cool. They weren't quite as good as ours, but I mean, like, listen, as a collective, very happy for the community. And it was a big, big week. The extent of how big it was, we will get into a little bit later on this episode. But for right now, let's say hello to some friends. First and foremost, the esteemed, the hilarious, the longtime host of Inside BJJ, who has come to his own again. One, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Raf, I'm doing great. Sorry about that last minute reboot. Everything went kaput. I'm trying to get the engine back up and running again. Super stoked too. get this in. I don't know if I sound like a robot or not, man, but here I am.
You don't
I'm
sound
still
bad
alive.
at all, Tim. It's not even that you sound bad. It's just every time I put it on you, I feel like Bin Laden has kidnapped you and that you have to read a statement with a newspaper that lets people know that you're alive in some way. So instead of going to this highly pixelated version of whatever this is,
like a
I'm going to go to
Minecraft
Kevin,
character.
who will use his handsomeness to bring it all back. Kevin, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Tim is on the same servers float down Tim's. I have to erode him first. I'm working my way up the totem pole.
Fair enough. I have to tell you, this is not as glamorous as you think because if you were to replace Tim, you just would have more responsibility on this show. So it sounds glamorous, but I'd be calling you a lot more to do stuff when you get up to vice president status. Gents, I have to ask this. How have you both acclimated back home? I'll start with you, Kevin, because it looks slightly easier to talk to you at this moment. How has things been going for you, sir?
Things have been going all right. You mentioned rest. I don't know if we were supposed to be hitting that. That's crazy. I came back and hit the ground running, man. My flight landed Tuesday morning. Me and Raf trained on Monday, cooked up some food, got ready to leave, turned around, flew out Monday on a red eye, got in at 5 a.m., a little bit of sleep, and then right back to it, man. Training, coaching, all that. I have not had rest.
Fair enough. I mean, the idea was to get some. I will tell you this. Yesterday was the first night my whoop told me I got 8 hours of sleep. And it was like, buddy, we are so proud of you. You finally did it. So very happy about that. Tim, what about you? How has life gone to you? And I don't know that I'm going to go to a solo shot. And I think you understand why.
I don't even blame you at this point, man. I need some of that adrenochrome for my internet connection. This is out of control, man. I hit the ground running, man. I came home early Monday morning, didn't get a ton of sleep the night before. Got a little bit of rest when I got home, had to teach class that night, and then it was back to the grind. I feel pretty caught up. I cleared up my freaking sinus infection, so that's cool. Doctor gave me some prednisone. Feeling good about that. My back feels better. My whole body feels better right now, so I feel all right, man.
I have to say, and I don't think the people who gave us our Airbnb can see this. I don't know. I mean, it's very easy to find RAF ESPARZA twice, if you were being that honest. But one thing I did notice on the reviews is they said they're like, the beds are a little stiff. And I didn't really care because I'm a zombie, so I just kind of go to sleep. Did you guys have that issue? Was that something? Should I have put that on the star ratings?
Yeah,
I was out.
My back hurts all the time.
Hit the bed.
Oh, okay. So both of you have different, good young person and old person answers. I like the old person, dude, you can't hurt me any more than I hurt myself. And the young person saying like, dude, I fell asleep at the airport floor. I don't even care at this point.
Yeah, like lights. I fell asleep with the lights on, door open. Like I walked in there and was like, I'm just going to lay down for a second. Out.
The best is you putting it over like it was a sleeping bag and just trying to go down. And I go, this dude's turning into a caterpillar, and I applaud him for his ability to go to sleep. So that was good. I should make a correction here. So for the record, Kevin did say that we trained. We did go together, but I did not train with Kevin. Kevin was in the hunt for other prey, if you would. So I did not register on his level. I would go in maybe not even the shallower. I want to say shallower, but then some sharks found their way to the shallow end as well. But I was just going to chill and get back into it. And I got to tell you, I went back on over to 10 round Tuesday. And I realized that between Monday to Tuesday, I had ramped things up from 0 to 100 very quickly because everybody was coming after me that day too. So lots to talk about there. Well, I'm glad everybody is healthy. Everybody looks very, very happy again. But gents, we do have a board to get to. And before we get to it, I would ask one more question, which is this. Are either of you gentlemen thirsty?
Oh, man. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am too, and it's a good thing because our good friends over at Gelato Water sent me 10 cases of this water that came in today.
Holy moly.
Now, here's where things get weird. I thank them intensely for this, but they're like, we'll send you boys some water. And I'm like, well, I don't want to get too much into the fact that they live in different places. So sure, I will drink the water in their stead. So gentlemen, this is for you guys. I'm drinking it
Thanks,
on their
man.
behalf, but thank you to our good friends at Gelato Water. They delivered this. It's in record time, and you're able to see it on the air on the same day it came in.
Well, I feel like you should drink 3 times the amount then. If you're going to drink ours, you should have to drink 3 per show.
If you look at those 10 cases, my dogs were barking very loudly at them because they were like, what the shit is this transformer of water doing in our house now? So they're a little afraid of it, but nonetheless, very kind gesture from them, and we will get hydrated back. So thank you to our friends over at Gelato Water. Let's go on over to the board. Gentlemen, you know, it's hard to put one of these boards together, honestly, because we just experienced it, but yet there's still a lot of things to talk about. The first and foremost aspect of what we did find out after all of the events took place is that Craig Jones was alluding to the fact that John Jones might have been paid $50,000 to attend ADCC. What's worse is that slightly after his attendance for influencer money, John Jones then just seemed to suggest that maybe, I don't know, maybe that ADCC is looking real spicy to him and he might have to get in on the action. So one thing's for sure, that check did clear, allegedly. But aside from John Jones having more plans to do anything with ADCC than Tom Aspinall, I'm going to ask you guys, who would you like to pay $50,000 to appear at either CJI in the future or ADCC? And I will start with you, Kevin.
I want Mo to sit Matt's side at CJI. I want him to show up, not even as some crazy thing. I want him to show up, sit Matt's side, feel the energy that there was at CJI, how much fun everybody's having, and try to not have a good time. For those of y'all that went, you felt the energy, you felt the environment. For those of y'all that didn't, you saw the matches. You saw how crazy exciting everything was. The pit was great. The energy was great. Everyone was laying it out there for that $1 million. I want him to pull up Matt's side, get his 50 G's, sit there, maybe have some nose beers. I don't know what his taste is, but sit there and try to not have a great time at, you know, the party that was CJI.
So let me get this straight. Hold on, young man. Your thought process is that the rich dude is not rich enough, so we should be paying him additional money to make a Paris Hilton-esque appearance at a drop-in at Craig Jones Invitational just to see him have to eat it. Am I understanding this correctly?
I was coming from a more wholesome place of, I feel like if
oh
he got
yeah,
in the
okay,
room,
yeah, wholesome. So
The
wholesome.
1950s really found its spirit in you, young man. I want to
Kind of
point this
Clockwork
out.
Orange wholesome.
The thing
I
that
can't have
maybe we are
anything.
overlooking here is allegedly Craig Jones tried to send bottle service at the ADCC after party to Mo, and I guess the word that got back to Craig was absolutely not. They didn't want it. So I don't know. These things are just funny to put out there. I wouldn't put it past Craig to try and do that. So I'm not sure Mo would be hyper receptive, and he would probably tell you that he would never do it. But you do raise a thing here. Now that I think about it, if Mo did accept the $50K to go from ADCC to CJI just in the audience, that would raise 5 champions worth of money. So he wouldn't have to pay it himself. It's not a terrible
bad way
idea.
to look at
And
it. Yeah.
he could divide it amongst the, 10 different divisions now? It's an extra $5,000 per division. I don't hate this. This is like when you take a hate bet just for the greater good. So maybe your wholesome idea is not off the record or off the marks here. All right, Tim, I'm going to go to you, and I'm going to go with God on however this pixelation comes off, but I almost
can
feel
feel
like I
free
should
to
give
jump
you
me
less
back.
time now, honestly. All right,
You
here
could
we
just
go. 3, 2,
Okay.
1, go.
Here's what I would do. Now hear me out. I would pay $39,999 to Eddie the Wolverine Cummings to descend from the rafters at T-Mobile Arena like the wrestling icon Sting, dressed up as the Crow, baseball bat in hand, right in the middle of Gordon's cockroach call out. Just have him freaking calm down, man. Land right on the mats and call him out. If we could pay people to appear, that's what I would do. And then I would pay $10,001 to the crew that covered it all. Yes, us, the bullpen. That's the move. If I could divide 50K up to get people out to the event, that's exactly how I would do it.
That's solid idea. Guys, I'm going to go outside of this world because I'm thinking about who could use some money right now, or who we could use, I guess, quite frankly. And I'm thinking to myself, why not Jennifer Lopez? Listen, I understand what she's going through right now, but upside, she could come here, find a new boo that's young. Okay. Her and Nicky Rod. I mean, well, I think he's married. He definitely had a kid. So let's not go there. J-Rod. Hey, she had an A-Rod. She could have a J-Rod now. And in doing so, like, he's a stud. Let's go ahead and make that happen. And I'm sure he would like to be a trophy husband. So let him do what he needs to do. He was almost a millionaire. I mean, kind of, except he did ADCC. Yikes. We need to really go with the ADCC guys. Who almost won $1 million? Who was the other one? If it's Nicky Rod, then it's what? We're going to set her up with a Rotolo? I got to think.
Man, I got a great one for you.
Please throw it down the pipeline, sir.
You could hook her up with Danaher and they could call him Danifer.
You know what? I regret everything, but your picture quality surprisingly came back a little bit stronger after you did that. So I don't know that we're off that, but I just know that all my feed this week was letting me know that Jennifer Lopez got a divorce. And I just thought, like, between all the politics that is happening in the world, all of our ADCC CJI, I said somehow that's not making any part of my stories, but yet spicy. I would take it right now.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing I've learned from South Park, younger, spicier, just saying, it could work. So that's a slight thought that I've had here. Gentlemen, I think it's time we go to our next topic, and I'll go ahead and advance this here. But our thanks to, I think, John Jones for stopping by. We'll see if he does anything with this. And very pleased about that. All right, let's go to our second topic, which is, well, you put this one down here, Tim, and you talked about the idea of heroes. So listen, we did talk about heroes and villains a little bit earlier this week, but I think it's time to really hone down and figure out who stood out as everybody's hero here. And I'm going to start with you, Tim. Tim, who was your elected hero of the insane week of jiu-jitsu we just had?
Well, I a little bit, this, maybe some people will think this is a cop-out, but it's really not. I think the heroes are the fans, because most of them that showed up in person went to both events. And it wasn't cheap. It's not cheap to go to Las Vegas. The events weren't super cheap. They were reasonable enough. But they went and they supported both events, and they were pretty good sports about both things. Yeah, there's a lot of drama and beef talking. And there was a handful of people that had the attitude like, I'm not going to go support ADCC, or I'm not going to go to CJI. But most everyone was on board with it. And all the fans that watched at home, I mean, over 3 million views for CJI. That's insane. That's amazing. That's a crazy number. And without the fan base, without people watching, those numbers don't exist, and all the cool things that can come from that. So I got to pick the fans. They played it just right. They tuned in, and it appears that they watched the whole damn thing. So that's pretty awesome.
Okay, Tim, I don't want to blame you, but I am looking at our numbers, and they do go down when it's just you. So I'll have to figure things out here, because it's not like we don't like the way your face looks. It's just I can't see your face. So we're gonna fix that as we go along. We're live TV here. Let's hope it goes back up by putting the youthful correspondent here, one young, handsome Kevin Sherrill. Kevin, who is your hero this week?
Yeah, I got you, Raf. I'll just clutch up and pump these numbers up for you. I think the hero for the weekend is Michael Pixley for taking Marigali out of the tournament. I don't know enough about the beef. or anybody's opinions of Marigali or New Wave versus B Team. That's not the point. It's the post he made thanking everybody for his double gold, and Pixley taking him out of the medal conversation entirely is absolutely hilarious. The number one reason to enjoy and keep up with jiu-jitsu is the memes, and we got a great one. Internet went wild. That was fantastic. So Pixley doing the Lord's work. Doing the Lord's work. That's so funny.
I feel you're right. You're on the right track, but this is why I'm glad we didn't say who our heroes were to each other. Tim literally took his headphones out not to hear who your pick was. I have a little bit different of an idea here, and I'll just put it out to the group, which is, you mentioned Pixley. I think that was 20% of what took Marigali out. My real hero were the Gypsies. Now, Craig put up a post after the fact that said that the Gypsies put a curse on both Gordon and on Marigali. And this is, of course, before, or after the fact that Marigali puts up, yes, I'm thanking everybody for my winning this. So everybody kind of had a part here. If we're breaking it down by percentages, I think the Gypsies are at least 50% and above, maybe 60. Pixley, 20, Science, Gravity, 10, and then the fans, the rest. I do want to point this out, though. When he put that up and you think, well, Gordon won. Yes, he did win. He did look a little more human this week. But the juxtaposition that Craig put was the empty seats that were behind some of the super fights that Gordon had this weekend. And it is hard to get around that. So in a way, he did kill one of the core things that keeps Gordon relevant, which is, well, he's supposed to be a draw. Then why did everybody race to CJI if he was such a draw? And it begs the question, did we just do some shit for no reason? Did we do that Felipe Pena match that was supposed to be made to keep people in their seats? And if so, if the whole purpose of that was to retain the audience, I don't think that it did. And moreover, now we count it as a championship for shits and giggles. There's a lot of stuff that I don't think fully came to fruition here. So I would say, if we're looking at effectiveness, Gypsy Curse, more effective than I think most grapplers, honestly.
Yeah, it's a strong one. I did see that. I didn't consider it, though. Don't mess with Craig and the Gypsies. Jesus, Craig thought of everything, I guess.
It's just weird because I didn't think that we would be looking back at a week like that and then giving them a shout out like, you're the heroes. You did it. Over here, by the way, Tim playing to the audience and being like, well, if Gabby can make a face turn, why can't I? I think it's the crowd. The crowd are the real heroes. I'm like, where are we right now? Okay, sure. Yes, let's go ahead and go to our next topic, though, gents. Thank you for both of your contributions. And thank to you, one, Enrique Iglesias, for giving us the best song of all time, which is Hero, which is used very heavily in the early 2000s. All right, Tim, you're going to have to take this one because I'm not even sure exactly why or how this took place, but it does look like there was a stripping of a qualification and an award that happened in the IBJJF, which, by the way, if you're going to strip anybody of anything, you do it during CJI and ADCC week. That's relevancy. Anyway, Tim, take it away in full 720 minus 360 resolution.
Yeah, I'm back from the 90s internet, baby. I'm dialed up on my Netlink. Yeah. So the IBJJF, maybe they released it on CJI weekend as like when politicians release their dirty laundry on Sunday, it's that kind of thing. But apparently Anderson Ferreira was stripped of his IBJJF medal after he tested positive for THC metabolites by USADA. And apparently the test just came out and the results or whatever, or they just announced the disqualification. But it seems so insane to me that there's so much swagger and just like grandstanding about what stack I'm on and this guy and that guy, and everyone's on test and Anadrol and Tren and all this stuff. And then this poor dude gets popped for taking a rip outside, sparking the owl when probably everybody on that staff is outside intermission hitting one, and this guy tests positive, and now he's banned and he can't compete for 5 months. It's like, dude, what a joke, man. Like, it's an insane thing. It struck me funny, especially with cannabis in the jiu-jitsu community. It's like, for real.
Kevin,
Anyway.
What is a form that you would like to get, I guess, kind of accused of doing? Or what would you like a test result to come back? Do you think that you would double down if you knew that a test was going to come back negative? Or how do you feel about this as somebody who's, I don't even know the last time you've competed in IBJJF, if at all?
I think I competed in IBJJF like a year and a half ago. I had to be, I'm not gonna lie, I had to be pressured into it by teammates. They were like, "Listen, we're all doing this. You're not just gonna, skip out on it. This is a team thing. You got to do." I'm like, "All right, okay." I think it would be very freeing to fail a PED test because then you can just run the whole stack, right? Like as soon as everybody's like, "Oh, I'm natty, I'm good to go." The second you pop, they don't care anymore. Just go wild, go absolutely balls to the walls. You're like, "Well, man, it's either clean sheet or nothing." If I'm gonna miss heaven, I'm not gonna miss it by 2 inches. Go in, bro. Like he just popped for THC. Time to get on Anavar. That's the way. That's the next step.
The gateway drug.
I'm like, "Oh, I'm not clean. We'll see. We'll see how not clean I could get."
I don't understand this. It's like the IBJJF heard a lot of people were interested in things and said, wait. I want to be included too. This dude failed a test, huh? Anybody? And it's like, dude, read the room. This is the wrong time. We would probably be receptive to it in a week, but you put this dude on blast and nobody cared. And I have to say this, Tim, you brought up a good point, which is, what do these people who are testing look like? They feel like they must have the worst parties ever. Like if you went to a USADA agent's party, what kind of shit are you not allowed to bring? Is it a Zima party? You know that they're not going to go outside and have safety meetings. And if they did, I'd love to see a USADA agent just on their vape, literally going like, "Hey man, we're here to test you. We want to make sure you're clean. No, this is allowed. This is cool. I do this because I'm trying to stay cool, unlike you, nerd." So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here, but I felt an immediate sense of, oh, that does suck. And then I thought, do I care about that when people are winning money this week? So it was kind of hard to balance those two separate ideas. But I will tell you this. I think the group stance here is very uniform in, why is this even news this week? Especially when you got somebody like Thiago who just says testing positive to greasing would be a lot of fun. Now, Thiago, we've learned a lot about you in a short amount of time. So I think we all know, Thiago, somebody needs to be testing that dude right now. Anytime he makes the mats, let's do a full wipe down before that dude makes it into a worse slip and slide. And I don't know if you guys understand this. Somehow, we were able to make it through the swamp of 10th Planet Henderson, Las Vegas, and come out alive, because I thought for a split second that water level was about to rise and start going into my cables, and yet we did survive. So again, thanks to our friends over there. If we can survive that, we can survive anything. Gents, I think we advance the board, go to our next topic. Tim, I have to tell you this. As the resident editor of the board, you putting freestyle up here is perhaps the most I've ever seen in a give up topic when we have 8 topics. Now, I understand a lot of people think picking 8 topics is pretty easy, but this was Tim being like, you know what? Let's just shoot the shit and see what happens. So I will reset the clock here, Tim, and I think you have to set the standard as to how we're supposed to use this 3 minutes in a segment. So Tim, all yours, bud. Take it away. Freestyle it is.
Well, I was I went to bed last night and I left a slot open for new Kevin, thinking that he would fill something in, and he didn't. So I got up today and I saw a gap there. So I wrote freestyle on the thing. It said, "Let's go, baby."
So hold on. So freestyle is really just a board filler to yell at Kevin.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's his freestyle topic.
So, Kevin, you're no longer handsome Kevin. You're second Kevin because you're not original Kevin. And if you know anything about New Coke, you know that it didn't last very long. Coke Classic made a strong comeback, and you better watch out because Kevin Classic is a hard act to follow, my friend. I don't want him back either, but if you keep chipping away at me, then I'm going to have to do some sabotage.
Your response, Kevin.
Yeah, you fucked up, bro. You gave me a minute for story time. Have we met? You give me a free minute for story time. You think I'm not going to knock this out of the park?
This is
All
pickup line.
Let's go. We're going back to my blue belt days. I'm going to freestyle. Y'all want to hear a story about me and Elijah from when we were teammates when I was a blue belt? First cracking into the pro scene. Elijah's already made. All right. So Elijah's negotiating with a local jiu-jitsu promotion, and they lowball him pretty hard. And he's like, yeah, man, that's not going to work. And they start disrespecting him as, mature professionals do. They start disrespecting him and what he's accomplished. He puts a screen cap out and puts these guys on blast publicly, right? I'm me. So as they're getting into it, I'm actually backing up Elijah during this because we're teammates at the time. And I'm like, I can't believe y'all did this. And then, I was like, is this what you are offering? Is this what you're paying jiu-jitsu athletes? They go something snarky. And I go, all right, here's what we're going to do. The promoter himself, he's a black belt. I'm a blue belt at the time, but I'm also a very overconfident blue belt. So I challenged this guy to a sub-only, no time limit bet match as the main event, since they can't afford Elijah. Just a bet match, costs nothing. I'll put the money up. And I said, here's, blank check. You put it in for whatever you think is fair. Here's the deal. I don't want your money. I'll just put the money in. If you win, that money goes to the other athletes on the card. You split it up however you want, but they all get paid what they're actually worth. If I win, you're fired and I pick your replacement. Needless to say, this man did not accept, but I was hunting that bet match for a minute. Blue belt Kevin was wild. So I went to bat for Elijah, and then now we've got our, what is it, like friends to enemies story now? Brutal, man. Brutal. How times change. How the turntables.
So hold on. Okay, let me see if I figured this all out. Everybody has a different definition of what freestyle is, clearly. Maybe we do need to put this topic up a little bit more. Kevin went with the route of like, I've got a story. Tim went with, by the way, a code word, and I know this for the future. If he says freestyle, it's really intervention. So it's the quickest way of showing up and being like, Ref, we need to talk to you. What's that? Oh, no. Am I on drugs? Have I been doing too many of them? I'm sorry, everybody. Shit, my cocaine habit. Sorry. I just like the fact that that's the code word that we used for this one. I don't even know that I had a freestyle topic other than airing some grievances. And I feel like the good aspect of it is Kevin starting here and starting to give a story, which is, I got 90 seconds. Let me tell you, there was a time, origin story, where me and Elijah were on the same team. And for a split second, I backed him up. And yes, you can understand why I might have been shot 9 times like 50 Cent, because yes, I did challenge a person to a challenge match, not just anybody, but the promoter themselves. So kudos to everybody on the staff here.
As a blue belt, challenging a black belt.
Which, by the way, I have to tell you, I don't think I say this enough. More blue belts need to do dumber shit when they're a blue belt, because I expect this from you as a blue belt. If you don't get out of your blue belt stage and do really some dumb shit, you never really experience being a blue belt. So if anything, you just did what you were supposed to do, which is challenge people with full authority of, I can beat you and I'm a blue belt and we'll see what's happening, sir. So I don't even hate it. I should point this out. Stephen Aiken did come through a little bit earlier. And in regards to who a hero was, Stephen Aiken said you were supposed to say me, Kevin. Do you have any words you would like to pass on to Bobby Bofum? I guess an apology or I guess in future challenge here? Like, what's happening now?
Challenge him. No, man, he had a huge weekend. He had great. I figured, the success was his own reward, but this man needs accolades. Yeah, Stephen Aiken's my hero, not Pixley. Take it back.
Wow.
And Tiago actually put down a part that said, Gabby is my hero now. Gave up a Hall of Fame induction to fight Craig. So on a thong? Not quite, but in a thong. And apparently we have differences on how we spell the thong song here, sir. But yes, Craig did initially come out in a Speedo-esque thing, or I think they call him like a buggy or whatever they do in Australia, whatever. But yeah, he did come out and then put on some shorts, thank God, for the rest of society. Because if he had fallen out on YouTube, things would have gone very, very bad, I think, for the entire community. So fortunately, everybody was all spared from having to see mini Craig Jones make their way on out here. Gentlemen, on my freestyle, I'd just like to tell you this. I think the topic at hand for me this past week has just been getting back to everybody. So my freestyle is, if we have not gotten back to you yet, my apologies. So yes, I would like to say while we're on air, thank you to our sponsors who took care of our team, who really came through for us. Thank you to our team who really did an exceptional job throughout multiple obstacles that we were faced throughout the week. So I choose gratitude for my freestyle, gentlemen, just showing that you don't have to always pick the negative here. You can occasionally pick the positive. I do say that publicly, but when we get off air, I'm going to tell you guys to pick the negative again. So
yeah, wake up and choose violence. Shout out Kaya.
Indeed. All right, gents, I think right now I'm going to go ahead and kind of zero in. I do have some topic reveals that I think are important to you, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on yours truly for this next topic coming up. But yes, I think there are some interesting things that we found out over the weekend. It was a big weekend for jiu-jitsu. Just how big? Well, the Craig Jones Invitational said that they hit 3.14 million viewers between their 2 days. We saw the ADCC actually went on air and hit somewhere in the region of about 270K, which not nothing for their first round that they aired for free on YouTube. Nonetheless, the Craig Jones numbers got me thinking, and I started trying to figure out where does that stand? And specifically, that Saturday night was also a night where they were airing against the UFC. So I did some digging, and I'm going to scoot over to the side here because I want to bring up some things to you guys. But let's take a look at how the Craig Jones Invitational did on Friday night in terms of the ratings. Now, you'll see here, of course, they are not on network television. And yes, some of this is apples to oranges sort of situation. But let's take the larger conversation here, which is that on that night, on Friday night, Craig Jones Invitational, based purely on number of viewers, would have done enough to rank within the top 10 programs on television. Now, when I say apples to oranges here as a big ratings nerd, I know it's not the same. I know that YouTube compiles their views in a different way that Nielsen does. Normally for Nielsen, you have to watch pretty much a majority of the program, where YouTube, you only have to watch 30 seconds to be considered a view. But stay with me on this conversation. Still, hitting 1.86 million viewers on night number one is an incredible feat. And more importantly, this doesn't even go into the 18 to 49 demographic. Sure, viewers by and large is a really good thing, but networks sell off of the 18 to 49 demographic. I did reach out to Craig to see if he had a number that he could supply to us, because I don't have those analytics, and I believe he's in the middle of a Coke binge. So if we get any updated numbers, we will do our best to update them here. But take a look at this chart, and it's significant for a couple reasons. Number one, it outperformed a repeat of Ninja Warrior, an established property within NBC Universal. Not bad. It also outdid AEW Rampage. Now, AEW is about to go through a big contract renegotiation. It is estimated that AEW per year is paid $45 to $50 million a year for their weekly programming. And it outdrew that. Now, granted, Friday night, they have a later time slot. And yes, Craig Jones had the benefit of being on for longer. So that means that it's not quite comparable to maybe a 30-minute program here. But it does suggest that things did very well for their Friday night. But you got to wonder, how did they do on Saturday when there was a UFC that actually happened on that same night? And I got news for you, just as well, if not more significantly better. Because that night also had preseason games. The NFL had, of course, major viewing at 2.07 million viewers checking out the Lions versus Chiefs game. So maybe we weren't going to beat them in that segment. But if you look down here, the Craig Jones Invitational at hitting 1.33 million viewers on night number 2 for a shorter program does seem a little bit significant in that it beat the millions of viewers who were coming in for the Bears and Bengals, 2 long-established franchises. And I got to tell you, what's even more significant, if you look at that number and go down to number 14, that is the UFC 305 prelims. That was what kicked off my initial question, which is, how did they do against the UFC? And the answer is incredibly well. And if you know the UFC, you know they have a multi-billion-dollar contract. Now, you might say to yourself, oh, maybe it was a weak card. Maybe the prelims weren't as big. You get a lot of people who tell you that people will not tune in for jiu-jitsu. This weekend is the beginning of saying, yes, I think people were interested. And I'm willing to take a wager here to see if we get their 18 to 49 numbers. We'd be happy to put those into the same charts that we have here. Because again, not only did it beat the UFC, it beat AEW, which again, may be looking at $100 million a year contract coming back up in their renewals. But that is incredibly impressive that night. So I want to give it to them and give them their due props, because that is an impressive feat nonetheless. Now, granted, these are estimated viewers. I'm sure you can find the real thing somewhere else, and maybe they might be a little bit wrong. But it's a pretty good starting point in terms of a conversation. And I want to point this out. Initially, it was said that, I believe Gordon, that ADCC was the most successful it's ever been. That sounds good. But in terms of TV, these numbers matter more significantly than anything ADCC did. Yes, ADCC put on a show, but this could actually get us a distribution deal if they know how to market it right. And it looks like they have some good people behind the scenes, and perhaps it is worthy of exploration on how well we do to that widely coveted 18 to 49 demographic. So the next time one of your friends tells you that jiu-jitsu will not play on network television or cable at the very least, tell them that they outperformed those that have multi-million-dollar contracts. And yes, in terms of the UFC, multi-billion-dollar. And I think that is worth noting. So congratulations to the Craig Jones Invitational for advancing that a little bit further. But I think they have some further cause for celebration here, because those weren't the only types of feedback that we got here. We were interested here at the show to find out how they did in terms of user appreciation or user likelihood that they enjoyed the show. So we actually did some surveys, and I'm sure many of you actually chimed in on that. So let's take a look at what the grades looked like from fans of the show. CJI from fan appreciation on our survey came in at 83% for an A grade. That's impressive. And yes, we did that on our show, and the 3 hosts here came in on an A minus. So then we look at it, the remaining 17% came up at a B grade. If you think about that in terms of if they liked what they saw, it does look pretty good. That's it. Nobody gave it a C, nobody gave it a D. So even if you're looking at how those viewers, those high percentage of viewers viewed their appreciation for what they were looking for, the exit polls seem to be pretty high for them. Let's take a moment to actually look at how that resonates for ADCC. And I think you'll see it does come back a little bit different in that realm. ADCC's grades from the fans came back as follows here. 10% viewed it as an A grade. 30% said it was a B. Now, it's pretty good here. I went with the B- on my grade at the end of our show last week. Here's where things get a little bit more murky. 50% viewed it at a C level or average, while the remaining percent gave it a 7% as a D. And mysteriously, even though we really didn't have it as an option for all of our content, 3% said it's an F. So what does this tell us? Well, at least from our research, it does signify the fact that most of the fans of our show who did watch CJI liked that product. Now, granted, maybe more ADCC fans could be included in the sample size. Of course, it is not indicative of jiu-jitsu as a whole. But what I can tell you is our fans aren't afraid to get blocked for feedback. So they're not as afraid to give it a bad rating. Clearly, if you look at this chart, if you're ADCC, it tells you that, yes, you've cultivated a very strong demographic and a very strong following. But I think it might signal that you need to do some market research to find out if your fans actually liked what you did. And I know you will block anybody that disagrees with you. You've done it multiple times when people have asked very easy and significant questions like, why are we paying Michael Buffer so much money? That's a legit ask. If you guys do some market research, I think it's time to figure out whether your fans actually liked it, because it does tell you one thing. 50% of your fans giving you a C grade does not do well for the future, especially if you go up against further competition. So this is probably good feedback to figure out where you stand with your base. And yes, if our research is wrong, that's perfectly fine. But perhaps our audience is trying to tell you that between this and this, there was definitely a winner over the weekend. So yes, if you're looking back at that, that 50% should concern you. That should definitely be something in a different sport. If you were the NFL, the NBA, it would cause a little bit of a pause with your company. So consider this just free market research from us. And like I said, you can conduct a much bigger sample and find out much different results. But how good is that if you block the people who disagree with you? Of course, you're going to find out that they're going to be very positive because they're fearful of saying the wrong thing. We here independently put this together. Good luck. And moreover, we want both to succeed. But next year, the people who had this kind of response are going to get the opportunity to do it on their own. So when we talk about A side and B side, I think we know who the A side was this weekend. All right, let's get back to the board, guys. Did you guys learn anything from that? Oh no, you're doing a mic drop. Don't, that's your own microphone, sir. You can't drop your own materials here.
Nice work. I agree.
Sir. Thank you, sir. I just want to tell you guys this. I'm a huge numbers nerd. I love looking at research and ratings. I did it all the time in TV. I still do it to this day. You can justify your numbers any way you want to, and it's not the end of the story, but it does paint a pretty good picture. And I was so encouraged to see that we could be a top 10 program for new programming. So if you look at cable and you look at how other things rated, we are missing some information. I'm willing to admit that, but I thought we put together a pretty good sample of how it drew that evening. And I'm very, very proud of our sport that we could do it. And I do feel like ADCC still took some upside, but until they release numbers, the only numbers of note that we have are how their gate sold, which looked like it did well, and how they drew in that first round, which 232 is nothing to scoff at, but it's also not the thing that's going to get the sponsorships that they think that they're going to get in terms of TV in a way that is more accessible to the regular everyday person. So that's all. Gents, I'm ready to go to the next topic unless you guys have any other thoughts on those numbers or any reactions, I guess I should say. Does that surprise you? Does any of that come through between the grades or the ratings? Did anything jump at you? And I'll start with you, Kevin.
It surprised me how well we did. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those people that, like, as much as I like jiu-jitsu, as much jiu-jitsu as I do and I watch and I study, I'm one of those people that's very, very skeptical that we can ever be truly a mainstream sport. CJI is the first thing to make me feel like that I may have underestimated our sport and our fans. And it's a pleasant surprise.
Thank you for that. Tim, your thoughts?
You got me stretching right there.
I did get you mid-stretch, and you know what the worst part is? There was no going back. I pressed this button. I was like, oh, shit, he's yawning and stretching. All right, Tim, coming back to you with the speedball. Anything catch you off that? Did the grades or the ratings kind of strike out to you in any way?
It didn't surprise me. I thought that CGI would have big numbers because Craig was on JRE. He went on Lex Friedman. He went on our best friend Ariel Helwani's podcast show. He was on all kinds of major productions, and he got a lot of eyeballs, kind of paying attention to it. When I was taking an Uber ride from ADCC to CJJ, the Uber driver was like, "Oh, you go to Craig Jones, $1 million, man." But I'm like, "Do you do jiu-jitsu?" "Nah, man, I listen to Joe Rogan." So it was like, okay, like people knew about it. It was kind of out there, especially in Vegas, but it was kind of out there, and it didn't shock me too much. But it is kind of crazy for a jiu-jitsu event to draw that big, given the last event before it, what numbers did that do? Like the jump is gigantic. It's historical. So in that sense, I really do agree with you. I'm really happy and proud of the work that everyone in the jiu-jitsu world has been doing to elevate the sport to this level. And now let's not drop the ball.
There is one thing that I do want to bring to everybody's attention, which is, those were really long programs, so sometimes they benefit. Oh, good Lord. I don't know why that was muted. I think it was muting you guys on the broadcast. My apologies to everybody. I did get a couple notes that said we were on mute, so I hope that those came through. I will go back and give you guys a quick little update if anything did not come through. So my apologies. I did not do that on purpose. But I do want to point out one last thing here, because yes, we did go through the numbers, but I did forget one small little detail to all of this. And you guys can tell me if you think this is relevant or not. Oh my God, those were our numbers. Look at that. That's really cool. Did you guys know that we did a broadcast over the weekend? And that, yes, it is pretty dope that Craig Jones Invitational did exceptionally well. Now, I'm willing to bet the ADCC did pretty well as well, but we didn't do so bad. Yes, we broadcasted for 26 hours. But right here, it shows you a chart that says that we got over, and this is a rough estimation. I will look at it in the future. But we got over 400,000 minutes that were viewed. Now, YouTube does technically count things, a view, as 30 seconds. So I don't know enough to know exactly what these numbers mean. I don't know if it means we had a high amount of people who sought us out, or if it meant that the people who were with us stayed with us a long time. I'm willing to accept maybe the latter is closer to true. We're still figuring it out. But I can tell you this much. There is one thing that I have told people who watch our show over the years, and it's been based off of guesstimations. Me thinking that maybe Flow Grappling has 100,000 people who tune in because I could give notes or evidence that supplied the idea that we here at the show draw at a 1 out of 10 households that watch jiu-jitsu, meaning we have a 10% market share. And I think from this weekend, you can kind of see that I'm not off my mark. So without knowing a ton, even this weekend, if the Craig Jones Invitational drew 3.14 million people in, and we got at minimum at least 400K plus, and that doesn't include everywhere we stream to, I'm not wrong when I say that we hit 1 in 10 audiences that tune in for that 10% market share. Why is this significant? Well, if you sponsored with us, I think it's a pretty good return on investment. And we did that off of the shoestringingest of shoestring budgets. But what I think it does tell you is if you look at other comparable chat shows that are on ESPN, not only is the sport building, but I think it gives more evidence that you guys, the audience, want to see shows that talk about jiu-jitsu. And hopefully it is ours. And we definitely put in the work here weekly, and it's a testament to our crew and the work that they did and these two co-hosts. So I'm very proud of the work that we did. And I think it bodes well to say we went to Vegas uncredentialed on a prayer looking for something good here. And I think our team overperformed. So, we can have our nice little Ewoks celebration afterwards where we're just throwing things around and putting things on fire. But to our team, congratulations and thank you for an excellent week of work. I'm truly proud of this, and it definitely warmed my heart. So it was definitely something super cool to see, and I hope that you guys like the shows. So I think it bodes well for seeing us in the future. And hey, if you're another event and you want to get in with us, we're willing to talk. We are happy to talk. But just remember, if you have a good show, we're not a bad pre or post show element. So don't tell me who's going to tune in. I think people will tune in if you give them a reason to tune in. So, God, don't
nice
do that.
job again.
Thank you. But yes,
it's a prop mic.
It's a prop mic. Tim, we need to make some movement because you do have a hard out coming up, and I don't want to miss that. So right now, we're going to move to a topic that is near and dear to everybody here on this show. What is happening this weekend, Tim?
So we have the PGF Season 7 qualifiers coming up at 10th Planet Austin, August 24th. It's tomorrow. I don't know if there's still time. I bet if you really wanted to get in, you might be able to figure out how to get in. And then following that up, just staying on the qualifiers on the, September 14th in Nashville. And then I believe at the end of September, like September 28th, it's going to be back in Las Vegas. Advice, if you're going to the PGF qualifiers, don't be boring. If you're boring and you win, you're not going to have a good time. And there's a high chance that you're not, unless you win the qualifiers, you're not going to get invited. If you're exciting, you go balls out, you have personality, you have charisma, you're rizzed up. If you do that, it doesn't matter if you lose. There's a chance you can get invited, at least for an alternate position. We've seen it happen a bunch. It's a show. It's not a contest. It's a show. And you're auditioning to go on a show. That's my advice for you.
Kevin, did he use rizzed up properly? Is that something the children are saying these days? And if so, how would he need to fix it to make it better?
He used it properly. I don't know if I don't know where the cutoff is on age when you have to stop using Riz. But I think he's really
I just started, dog. You feel me?
Yeah. Hello, fellow kids.
They not like us.
Tim hit like the core of it on the head. You guys have to remember when you make this switch to the PGF, you are not doing a tournament. You are not doing a competition. You are not even really competing in a sport. You are creating content. You are entertaining people. BMAC will tell you this every qualifier I've ever been to, every show I've ever been to with him. He will remind you, hey, you're thinking this is jiu-jitsu. It's American Idol. I want popular, entertaining people. And that's not just taking risks on the mat with your jiu-jitsu. That has to do with how you answer questions, what you do when you get your hands on that mic. I'll tell you this. Don't thank your team. Don't thank your friends and family. Nobody wants to hear that. It's the same thing everyone says. My opponent's a great guy. I knew he was going to be a challenge. Like we've all heard that. That's every interview. Don't be that guy. Whatever they ask you, if you get a chance to get on the mic, burn it down. Burn that thing down. Say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to make sense. It needs to be compelling, interesting. It needs to be something that the fans are going to tune in for. Use those moments with care. You don't get a lot of them. You need to make an impression.
Thank you for that. No, thank you to your teams. Got it. Everybody can suck it. Just, I did this, me.
Thank those people on your own time. You get the mic, don't spend it telling people how grateful you are. Burn that mic down. Tell everybody they can get it. Whatever, man. Go crazy.
I will tell you, this is definitely changing the structure on how I will host the show because two reasons. One, it just invites me to do that more whenever I say how great things are going and be like, hey, it was a good day for the tournament. These guys did great. But let's talk about me. Listen, you assholes, nobody set this up. I set this up. This board didn't advance without this guy. So, Tim, you need to do the same. We're just changing the way we're gonna cover the event. I want to point this out though. If you do get the opportunity to try out for it, what's good about it, from my recollection, is you get at least 2 at-bats in the trials process. So it's not just a single elimination. I think they're really looking to see what it is you offer. And some of the people who did the trials process still ended up making it, even though they didn't win the tournament. So I would tell you guys who are getting out there, put on a show, make yourself memorable. And then, yes, characters are welcome, because this weekend, we definitely saw some of our biggest personalities out there. I don't know how much people did to differentiate themselves as individuals when they got mic time, but I think it is a great note to tell them stand out. Because if there's one note I wanted to make about the Craig Jones Invitational that I did not, that maybe I think we should circle back to, I do want to see what's going to happen if you make that a 3-hour program. I feel like in tightening everything up, you don't get as much loose time. We don't have as much Miata time to see somebody walking down to the Price is Right music to get their card that nobody really asked for, but I guess is funny as a side note. I think the tighter we can make that 3-hour presentation, maybe 4, I think then we'll really have some market research to really identify, is this something that could do big numbers going elsewhere? It's worth noting that the WWE went from having this super long WrestleMania to 2 kind of shorter nights. And the ideas paid off in droves. And I might suggest they go look that up and see how they make use of that time, because I think that's a great model to seeing how a 2-day event could be sustainable in the future. So there is that. But yes, to our friends over at the PGF, we definitely are looking forward to covering you guys in the near future. So very excited about that. And big shout out and love to our friend Brandon McCatherine, who did, by all accounts, an incredible job over this weekend. We didn't hear it. We were busy doing our stuff, but that doesn't mean we weren't there to support our good friend. And I know he did a great job because, he always does. So good stuff on that.
Major props to him.
Yes. And gents, I think in a few seconds here, we're actually going to go to our trademark segment, which is, yes, there's always some kind of nonsense. There's always some kind of tomfoolery happening in the stands. And what I love and appreciate about this segment, Tim, is that you have a way of finding the fights that I see, but that I forget. Like, I see them happen on my feed somewhere, but then I just put it out of my mind. And then Tim baby birds it back into our rundowns here, and I go, oh my God, I definitely think this is the fight to watch. So we now go to our next topic here in a second. But before we do, Tim, what, if anything, do we need to know as context into this week's fight of the week?
So this happened at a baseball game between the San Diego Padres and the Minnesota Twins, which I used to be deeply into baseball. I'm not too much into baseball anymore, but as far as I can remember, these 2 teams are as far removed as rivals as possibly can be. Like, there's no beef between these teams, but these are 2 fans in the crowd. One is Cholo-esque. I think his shirt might be a little tight. His wife beater's a little tight. He's got some little khakis on, and the moral I want you guys to look for, the idea here is, if you have a good move, you can't rely on one good move repeatedly without your opponent sussing it out. And you'll see how this one plays out. Dude looks good in the beginning, but you'll see.
All right. Well, with any further ado, let's get straight to this fight. And I'm going to go ahead and let you, Tim, narrate what's happening here, sir.
So we got two guys in the stands. Wife beater guy is putting some great moves on t-shirt guy. He's kind of juking him, but he's punching from a distance. He can't quite get to it. Almost lost his pants. He's starting to get a little closer, and the wife beater guy's getting more confident. He's getting closer, and he eats one right there. He ate one right there, and now he starts to eat them, and he starts to eat them big time. Cobra Kai till you die. He gets pieced up. His girlfriend's got to come in and stop the match. It's appropriate. He looks like a Quentin Tarantino movie now. He's got all white on with blood on his shirt. She's begging him, baby, no, your nose is already fucked up enough. Like, let's not do this. He went to the well one too many times.
So let's start here. Kevin, I'm going to replay this, and if you wouldn't mind breaking down this as well as you did over the weekend, which, by the way, I would say unsung hero of the week was Kevin's analysis and breakdown of techniques. So if you would be so kind, sir, please walk us through the technique, if there is any here.
Well, there's definitely technique. So this is the thing I love, right? He's actually done a very good job because, like, his head movement, absolutely unnecessary. There are chairs in the way that are preventing our boy from getting to him. That head movement, that's all showmanship. Love it, baby. Showmanship it is, right? But he gets a little cocky. He gets a little close, and he thinks the chair will protect him. But you know what? You were at an angle before, buddy. Our guy in the black shirt lines up on it, starts piecing him up, starts making that length work for him. Sitting down in the chair, bold move, bro. I mean, it takes footwork out of the equation, but not the way you'd think. And this is a pro move. Guy in the black shirt knows he messed him up. He starts retreating. He's backing up. When you get the answer you want, hang up the phone.
Thank you for that. Gents, I feel like we did leave a few stones unturned, and that's what I'm here for.
Yes,
so, gents,
I saw some gems.
Let me give you some true broadcaster moments here. So first, let's start with this. I love that somebody on the internet referred to this as Weidman Silva-esque, if you would. And I laughed profusely. But what's great about it is this dude is definitely overestimating his ability to dodge any bullets. But instead, he starts with the taunting here, and I really want to make sure we're all on the same page. He starts with the I just had some good KFC, finger licking good, then says, bam, closes his eyes, probably as surprised as any of us that it didn't happen there, and then goes back a little bit and is actually like, yo, I'm going to hit you with the John Cena, you can't see me, bitch. And then the dude says, I think I can. Now, granted, maybe this was lost in the sauce, but he grabs the crotch here, which I have to be honest, guys. If I'm getting into a fight, I don't know how high grabbing my own crotch is because your defense is down. Now, yes, you may have a scratch there. You may have to take care of the boys, but you can wait until after someone is throwing hands at you. Also gross. So let's go to this continuation of what we need to break down here before we kind of put a wrap on this one. But yes, we see him dodge. Bam. Yo, look at me. I can see right through you, fam. In 3, 2, 1. Uh-oh. They're not looking good. Okay. Now, this is where he could have stopped because he got the crack shot.
Yeah.
If you get the moons over my hammy shot, you should have a walk-off home run. He did not.
You referenced the Denny's menu.
I did. The Denny's menu is super important here. And yet, at the same point, could have walked off a true hero. He did not. And yet, this dude came in, and Tim and Kevin, you both mentioned the idea. What flew here? It looks like it could have been a wallet, an inhaler, and I love the ZZ Top dude behind him using the power of Christ to compel him to stop fighting.
That's Brandon McCatherine in disguise.
It's Brandon McCatherine 100% in disguise. And now what happens here, you guys, is, things are not going well. Danger. And everybody puts their hands out trying to heal this young man and his... it's not going well. So it looks like, dude, now not only is he abusing you, but you're starting to look like you went down hard on the capsule. And if your main defense is to get into the seat and put your hands up, and then your girl, Liv Morgan, has to come through and save you, things are not going well. And I should tell you guys this. she's the MVP, but he pushes her, and I'm not convinced he could win a fight against her either. So probably not good to pick a fight with your boo who's trying to make sure you don't take any more damage and is effectively calling the fight off. Did I miss anything here, Tim? Because I know you had some glimmers in your eyes of some stuff.
No,
that you might have
you
missed.
hit it. You hit it exact, man.
God,
you
dude.
called out the weird facial gesture thing.
I've never been in a fight situation. I've never gotten into a roll. It's like, no, you guys wait. Oh, it's happening right now. Like that shit weirds me out as is. Like I need sanitizer just doing it right now for myself. And then two, to sit there and this dude, the only person this side of this dude in the world, Michael Jackson, who hits a crotch grab and thinks that's how you fight people. Like when I used to watch Michael Jackson in those videos, I think he's the only person who believes that he can end street violence through highly complicated jazz routines. And yet it worked in those videos. But when that dude grabbed his crotch and would shoot it your way, I'd be like, you know what, dude, that doesn't work for me, but it is impressive how well you dance. So,
yeah. His outfit should have told us that he was out of place.
I don't know the story between him and that girl, but I don't think you can watch somebody do the Justin Gaethje in the pocket while sitting in a chair and eating every shot without getting the ick. She's losing his phone number for sure.
100% that relationship is done so.
How was the plane ride home? Back to Minnesota.
It's just, there's something truly epically amazing about these gems, though. Because again, I saw that fight, Tim, and my brain, we do this show. It should 100% think that is something we should put on the show. And yet it does not. It literally turns off. So kudos to you for bringing that back through, because it could have gotten lost in the fray and lost in the sauce. And I'm really happy that you made sure we were taken care of there, sir.
The moons over my hammy reference, Raf, really did it for me, man.
You're welcome. You know, I recently saw some friends from college, and one of my homeboys was like, yo, do you still order moons over my hammy? And I go, dude, why would I go to Denny's now that I'm not in college? Like, I can go anywhere I want now. And I'm not staying out till 2 a.m. and abusing waiters and waitresses just so we could hang out. And he's like, but would you still order it? And I was like, yeah, probably, dude. If we went right now, I'd probably still get that, dude, because I don't go out of my way to get it. So, gents, I think we have one last kind of area of expertise to talk about. But before we do, Mama Cheryl, apparently a big fan, and says they are casting out the demons. And Mama Cheryl, you are not wrong there. So props to you. And it says, keep on with the force. Don't stop. Don't stop till I get enough. I mean, listen, dude, if I do get into a fight, I probably will recite Michael Jackson lyrics.
He got enough, bro.
He did. He definitely got enough.
Though.
Last things here. Let's go to the gallery. And this is, of course, what people are saying on the streets. And I'm just dropping this one in. This one comes from a young man named Kevin Sherrill. And Tim, do you have any context for this?
I just got a rando text from him, and it said, I'm in a private lesson, or I'd get some.
So so first of all, we should put some context here. Because Kevin? I'm not sure exactly what he's going to get, and I don't know that I want to ask. Kevin, what are you supposed to be getting here?
Gallery comments. Gallery comments is what I was supposed to be getting.
Yeah, okay. So just remember,
Kevin, is that what you were talking about?
Just remember, the group chat is always fair game for me to put up on here, guys. And I feel very secure because you guys don't have the wherewithal to put up my shit. So I feel like I'm going to be okay. But
dude, I'm in a private lesson, or I'd go get some. It's going to be a chapter of one of my memoirs.
So, Tim, the other comments that we have here today, and I'll just blow this up bigger so you can read it and you can give us some context as to what exactly people were responding to here.
Oh, yeah. So this is in response to Craig Jones, Gabby Garcia. It's a quick post or tweet, X-tweet, whatever the fuck they call him now. It says, Craig Jones forces Gabby Garcia to tap out in the second round of their exhibition match via rear naked choke, marking the first ever intergender jiu-jitsu match at this event, Craig Jones Invitational. Match recorded a milestone, 150,000 viewers. Craig Jones says over 1.2 overall. 1.2 million overall viewers. Okay, so these are the replies to that particular post that are following, and the replies are pretty damn funny because some people really don't know what's going on.
So let's get to the first one here, and this will be a lot, but what did they say here?
Ha 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 ha. I like the, not just the ha ha. We got to like 3 times it to really let you know we're laughing hard. I hear time travel isn't possible, but every day I wake up and see people de-evolving. Duh, that's the whole point of Craig Jones Invitational. Now, I don't think it's a de-evolvement. Obviously, it's a gimmick, but it strikes me funny that people are taking it seriously. And I think that's what he wanted in a way to attract even more attention to it.
Let's go to the second one here, Tim, because, again, you found some gems in this whole melee. But I'm going to shrink this down so people can see you as well. And it says she's obviously gassed and he's taken it easy on her. No doubt he could have taken her out in the first round.
No doubt, huh?
No doubt at all. I'm glad that everybody speaks with incredible certainty.
Yeah, it looked like a Khabib with a mohawk with the username was like Trump 2024.
When you found that, my initial reaction was like, why are we giving this dude time? And then all of a sudden I saw it and I go, yeah, no, this is pretty dumb. I can do that.
Commenting on an intergender jiu-jitsu match. This is the future. You guys, we are in the Matrix right now. There's no other way, man.
To be fair, that could have been Khabib himself on his burner. It was just like, you guys are wrong for watching this. Very bad, very bad. Don't.
Right.
This is not the way. So instead, we go to this last comment here. And this one, I'll go ahead and shrink down very, very subtly. And it says, men have double the ability of a woman. Biology 101. The woman must be at least twice the size of the man to even have a chance. So I'll go to our expert here. Kevin, what say you to any of that?
Double. They have double the ability? That's crazy. You know what that calls for? Second intergender match, 2v1.
Oh, no. Right. We should sign up our YouTube commenters to the next one.
Biology 101. You need to.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, let's do this, gents. We are going to circle here and call things off. Tim, you have to get out of here, so I'll let you have the first stab, but
yes,
I will not give you the camera to yourself because I feel like we may lose more viewers. So if you would just do so and plug your stuff in this window, that would be great.
Yeah, man. I'm going to have to pull a crotch shot off or something to make this entertaining. But catch me at Inside BJJ, all your social media stuff. We had Max Hansen on the show last night. He had some pointed comments about Craig Jones's banana hammock, and he shared his feelings about that. I thought that was interesting. Make sure you check the qualifiers out, 10th Planet Austin. I don't know if they're going to live stream it or what, but there's going to be something out there. You probably get more information if you go to Brandon McCatherin's YouTube channel or one of his social media channels. But guys, it's great to be back, man. I'm glad we did a show this week. We could have taken the easy route and not done one, but let's keep the juices flowing, man. It was a pleasure to work with you guys in Vegas, and it's just as fun to do it remote. So hell yeah, we're back, boys.
Tim, you did a great job, man. So proud of your work. And you know what's great is I love being able to work with you and being able to put on so many people and get them to have a platform this week. And I feel like that's an extension of something that you and I have been working on for a real long time. So seeing it continue to evolve and get the numbers that I felt like in our hearts we knew we could get, it was very, very good. So again, thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you, Tim, for getting Salt Electrolytes to come through. It rescued this show multiple times throughout the week. So don't do that. I feel like we have to pay them if they can't see it in a certain 1080p at least. But Tim, get out of here. Kevin and I are going to close this up here, sir. We'll talk to you in a bit.
All right.
All right.
Peace, bro.
We do this, Kevin, why don't you tell us where the people can find you, sir?
Yeah, Kevin Grapples on Instagram, or you can pull up to American Top Team Lima and come get some rolls, come get some training. Yeah, come find me on Instagram, come find me in real life.
Excellent. Now, when you say come pull up and come find me, it does sound slightly, you know what I mean? Like you can pull up. Like when you say that, it does have a certain tone to it.
Yeah, I mean, it can be like I'm hosting a party and I'm like, hey, you should pull up, or it can be like, yo, pull up.
No, I heard it a certain way. I'm pretty sure I heard it the right way too. Kev, it does come to my attention that you were sent something. You have no idea what it is. Do you mind opening the package that you received live on air, sir?
Let's go. And while I'm showing this off,
please don't show the addresses. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shoot. Was that on there?
Unfortunately,
your it's only mine. That's cool. That's great. Rap's not at risk. Just me. Yeah. The picture Raph got about this being delivered was my front door wide open. Appreciate you, Reese Watkins, for doing that one. So this became this didn't get any clearer for me on what I'm receiving. I can take some guesses. Here we go.
Look at this. Look at that.
Let's go, guys.
All right. So
we're hitting the big time, baby.
We are. That is your first grown-up mixer, my friend. So hopefully we get you to sound like us and not look like Tim, because I realized it was kind of weird to have you get those in and be like, uh-oh. Well, you're supposed to look like a big kid, but right now Tim looks like
Tim's the extra.
The ghettoest shit I've ever seen in my life. So very happy to have you on the team. You did an incredible job, and you should take pride in the work that you did, young man. It was really good, and I hope that we showed off a different side of you. And I'm happy to say you'll be joining us for the interim future. So thank you so much, and no better way to say welcome to the team than to give you some upgrades. And I think your broadcasting equipment. Hopefully it works.
Very happy to be a part of the team. I had an absolute blast this weekend. Again, 24 hours of work over 3 days, and all of it so worth it. So fun, man. It was great hanging out with y'all.
Beautiful, sir. I'm going to go ahead and close this off, and then you and I will chat off air very briefly, and we'll let you have the rest of your Friday night. But my thanks to you, my thanks to Tim, my thanks to everybody who tuned in. And as I turn now to the camera on this side, guys, it has been an incredible week, and yes, we are still getting our bearings back. It's been a minute, so please indulge us as we take a few days to get back to our old routine. But I can tell you this much right now: yes, we will be back next Wednesday at our regular time. We have a lot of great content that we are producing. Hopefully, we'll have some results from the PGF qualifier. But as you can tell, news doesn't stop here. Quick reminders, if you like this show, go check us out at patreon.com/grappling hour. You can see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And for a few extra bucks, you can see some technique breakdowns and some great stuff that's really not available anywhere else. You can also check us out on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We will be updating some new episodes that have not reached air for obvious reasons. We've been in ADCC, CJI world. Shout out to my training partners. They integrated me back into this world very quickly. You could tell they wanted to rip off my head. But I will tell you this. A couple of them were a little surprised this week. When I went back to 10 Round Tuesday, they were like, yo, did you come back meaner? And I was like, no, I'm just trying the stuff I saw in the week. I have jiu-jitsu on the brain. So now I'm trying to steal some stuff that I saw from the weekend. So big shout outs to everybody who competed very, very well. And thank you again. I cannot thank you guys enough for showing out for us. It was really, really cool to get those numbers and to see that we are in the conversation, that we are definitely doing what we say we are doing. So 1 in 10 checking us out. Not a bad thing to be a part of. Thank you again to our sponsors. You all know who you are. Gold BJJ, Inverted Gear, Salt Electrolytes, Future Kimonos for coming through big time for our raffles. And yes, I will be reaching out to our raffle winners very, very soon. And there's some other people I could thank. Drill Dice will be giving out some stuff. We'll be doing some interactive elements here on the show very soon, as well as our friends at BJJ Mental Models. We will do some cool trivia in the near future on this show. But I think, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hours, the Bullpen, in conjunction with our good friends over at Inside BJJ. It has been a great day for grappling. We, my friends, will see you back on the mats.